This is Sports Federation TV. Welcome back. We're chatting canoeing. We're chatting what is canoeing. And we're joined in studio by someone who knows more about canoeing than anybody I know. Hello, Richard. You well?
Very well, thank you.
Good, good. Tell us what is canoeing. Let's start at the beginning.
Canoeing, we use the term as a generic term for the sport, but actually what we do in South Africa is kayaking mostly. And the definition of that is you paddling in a boat with a double-sided paddle. Canoeing is on the one side, like an Indian canoe.
Okay.
And there are many disciplines to our sport. We've got flat water sprints, which is an Olympic discipline. We've got flat water marathons. We have river marathons, like the Berg River marathons happening at the moment. Canoe Polo, whitewater and wild water, down rapids and all that sort of stuff. So it's quite a vast array of disciplines.
Yeah, because I always thought it's just a bunch of oaks in a small little boat going to play down the river.
Yeah, that's what people think, but it's a lot more exciting than that.
And how big is the sport in the Western Cape?
The Western Cape, it's not as big as in KZN, for example, and that's purely because of the weather. Our canoeing season is in winter when our rivers fill up, and it's cold, it's wet, it's miserable. So yeah, we face a lot of factors here that keep it numbers down a bit.
And it's predominantly a river dam based? There's not much happening in the ocean?
In summer we will go and paddle on the ocean. We do what's called surf skiing, which is an offshoot from lifesaving. And then in winter we're back on the rivers when the rains come.
Okay, and clubs? We are clubs based.
Basic clubs are wherever there's some body of water.
Okay.
So my club is Century City, and we paddle around the canals there. We have Milton Canoe Club, we've got Paarl on the Berg River, Peninsula Canoe Club near Muizenberg.
And those clubs are active within that specific geo area?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So they draw their athletes from the neighborhood.
And they all have contact details on a website? How do people?
Yeah, if you just Google any of the Canoe Club Western Cape, and it'll come up with the union's details, and we go from there.
Okay. You touched on the Berg River Canoe Marathon that's happening this week. Tell us a bit about that.
Well, it started on Tuesday with the time trial, which is there to work out the seedings for the starting positions. And then yesterday was what we call day one, from Paarl down to Zonquist, but unfortunately we haven't had any rains, so there's no water in the river, and you have this water hyacinth that's blocked up the river. So they actually had to change the day and start day one, same section as day two. Basically they're doing it twice. And then they eventually finish in Veldrift, which is 244 k's over 4 days. And
anybody who can manage a canoe can enter, or is it
no,
by invitation only?
It's pretty challenging. It's not by invitation. You've got to go through a couple of stages to qualify for it. Safety is a big factor. We're dealing with water, moving water, trees, and the cold and stuff like that. So you really need to know what you're doing, and there's a qualification criteria to get in.
Explain the qualification process. Let's say I want to do it next year. What do I need to do?
We'd start off with the basics, get you going on flat water, learning to stay upright. They're very tippy, these kayaks. And then you progress to flat water competency, and then we'll take you to the rivers and we'll take you down, show you how the rapids work, go over the safety stuff, and then you pass your river proficiency test. And once you've passed that, you need to do a couple of races within qualifying times to get let's say an A grade rating. And once you have that, then you can do the majority of our rivers.
Okay, so that's a long process, or how? What's the time frame?
You could do it probably about 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many races do you have in the Western Cape? Because you've touched on the races now and that you need to qualify. So tell us what's your calendar like?
Calendar's pretty busy actually. We start in March, and there's almost every weekend a race on the Berg River, building up to this week, the Berg River Marathon. And then the end of the month we move on to the K2s, the double canoes. And for the next 2 months we paddle on the Breda River. And again, every second weekend there's a race building up to the Breda River Canoe Marathon at the end of September.
So there are different sizes of canoes as well?
Yeah. And in fact, it goes up to K4s, 4 people in a boat.
4 people?
Yeah, but that's just in the sprinting discipline. We don't use those in the river. They don't go around bends very well.
I was just wondering. I mean, looking at some of the successes that's come out of the Western Cape, name a few?
Sure.
I mean, we've competed quite well at international level.
Well, we've got the ratings.
Likes like of Bridget Hartley and those.
Yeah, look, we've got the reigning world surf ski champion, Sean Rice from Peninsula Canoe Club. He's one of the locals. We've probably got the majority of the top sprinters also come from our province. Unfortunately, we number 2 or 3 in the marathons because we've got this man from KZN, Hank McGregor, who is the world's best. I think he's won 3 world marathon champs. He is 2.5 minutes ahead on the Berg after today's event, and is likely to win his 9th Berg River. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, from the footage that I've seen, he's just an animal on water more than anything else.
It's incredible. Even his father at I think he was 65 years old, came in the top 10 in the Berg last year.
And I mean, we're a small province, like you said, in terms of canoeing. And across the country, we ranked 2nd or 3rd in the country, I think?
No, I think we'd be right up there, close first.
Is
yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah. No,
Okay.
we really have not a lot of athletes, but we have top athletes.
And you've mentioned the canoeing, the polo. Tell us a bit about that.
Canoe Polo. So it's pretty much water polo, but in our canoes. The goalposts not in water level. It's about 10 foot high, and team consists of 5 players and the 6th player in like a reserve that can come on any time and just swap and tag. It's fast paced, it's aggressive, and it's really, really exciting. And funny enough, the World African Champs are happening at the end of September here in Cape Town.
Wow, that's a cool for South Africa and Cape Town particularly.
It's going to be great.
When is that happening? Do you have dates yet?
25th of September.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a big, on a nice long weekend, we'll be there to come and check out the action.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Tell us any new developments happening in Western Cape?
Well, one of the exciting things is our club at Khayelitsha. And now who would have thought in the middle of Khayelitsha in the Cape Flats that there's water that you can go and paddle?
Absolutely.
So we've got a small club that started there. It's part of the Khayelitsha Wetland Park, and it's on the Kales River. And these guys we've arranged a whole lot of boats for them, but unfortunately the water's so small that it's ideally suited for a canoe polo court, for a better word. And that's where we're aiming to get these guys boats and equipment so they can go and play polo there. And if you think the amount of talent that lies in Khayelitsha, that can go and do the sport and excel. We had our under-21 team from the Cape Town Canoe Polo Club. They went up to Gauteng in May this year, and they won the event.
Nice.
So yeah, they've been to Africa Games as well. So the future is bright for these guys. We just got to find them equipment and get them going.
Which is my next question. How expensive is it to get into canoeing?
Canoeing's not terribly expensive. Second-hand boats are not a couple of $1,000 for example, and they last a long time. If you want to do it at the highest of levels, the Olympics, then it's expensive.
Yeah.
We're talking carbon fiber boats and things like that.
And I'm assuming one of the prerequisites to be involved in the sport is you must be able to swim.
That's one of our biggest challenges at Khayelitsha. We've got a swimming program that we're about to put in place for them. And what we do find with the elder generation are a bit nervous about their children coming down because they're not affair with water. And so they're holding the youngsters back a little bit, which is for me is quite frustrating. But with this swim program, hopefully we can overcome those issues.
Yeah, because I mean, even though they're wearing a life jacket, they still need to be able to be water safe.
Correct, yeah. And the other nice thing about Khayelitsha, it's very shallow, so most of the time you can actually stand up. So yeah. So
but it's again, like you said, it's about not having the exposure and then building the confidence to be able to know that you can do this.
Correct, yeah. And if only we can get the parents to come and be involved and see what it's all about and let them understand it, things would grow a bit faster than they are.
Absolutely. In closing, how do people, again, just give us the contact details so we know how to get hold of you and what's next on the calendar?
Western Cape Canoe Union is your first port of call. All the clubs are listed there, all the contact details. Each club's got a coach. Get hold of them and get down to the club and they'll put you on the water and get you going.
Awesome. When's the next big event or next event here in Cape Town?
Next one will be the Breda River Marathon, which is the first weekend of September, and then the Canoe Polo on the 25th of September.
We'll be checking out the Canoe Polo. Thank you for your time. It was great to have you in studio.
Great, thanks very much.
Let's take an ad break. We'll be back.